Yeah, most of our meetings. Yes.
Hi, welcome. Come on, just talk to my computer, please.
Can you start my hotspot or is it having?
No, I'm on. I just want to send the agenda. Sure. It'll be the first time I spend half the meeting on my phone. There it comes. I thought I wrote so neat, you know, and then I went like, oh,
I could read it. I understood it. Went back to really read mine. I was like, what am I trying to answer? But
did we?
I did multiple times.
Oh. How is it all good? Did you get all the info you needed?
Oh my God.
Good. Oh, God. That would, thank you for doing that. That's can be a lot of to work.
Why would that insult? It was fun.
How's your bride? How's your kids? Getting into routine at school.
We do homeschool,
So it's always the same routine.
it's boy, which it's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
Are you going anywhere fun for vacation or just out working?
I am going to Key West.
Have fun.
And then the husband. And then, so that'll be weird. My kids are all like, no, no, no. And then my mom's only, you know, same resort, like some condos, and then her kid, like, which would never. So I think that'll be really cool. I don't know. I think it'll be really nice.
First time with
In a long 35 years. You know.
Usually cheese. Or not.
Yep. No, we aren't either. We're definitely. So it's just gonna be. I don't have to work for 9 days.
Yeah.
All right, I've got 5:30. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order and start up the budget.
Congratulations to the
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the
one nation
republic
under God, indivisible,
of liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up, we will move on to item number 3, consideration and approval of the agenda.
we add
I've got-
the old business,
I got a couple things whenever it's my turn.
9.4 old business RFPs for IT.
Discussion.
I got a couple things.
Was that all you needed to change, Dan?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Dave.
8.1, the November 5th meeting minutes, I'd like to make some comments on that. And 11.1, or not 11.1, 12.1, the city staff reviews, I'd like to pull Marcy's off and have it added to the December 3rd meeting, because I just got it here just the other day and I haven't had time to really review it. 8.1 could be put at 9.4. That's my suggestion. But
9 point, oh, or 9.5, that'll move to, how's that sound?
okay, excuse me. Yeah, whatever Kent.
All right, any other additions, corrections, or any other changes that we would like to see?
I guess just one concern is that the original intent of reviews was to be started early and not wait until the very end of the year, which I know circumstances are what they are, Dave, but I mean, this is the second time I think that we've been pushing this one out when we thought we were going to be starting early on this. So now we're going to wait until the very last second again to do it.
Well, I don't think we're late in the last. We got 2 meetings in. We got December meetings. I don't think it's pushing it to the last minute. I think, if we're gonna, I think in all fairness to do it right. I don't know if everybody had time to go through it extensively. It's a lot of material and a lot of reading, and I guess I asked for it. If I don't get a second, I understand, Kyle, but I'm asking for it. And if you don't want to give it to me, I understand.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda, corrections or otherwise?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dave, second by Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Could we state the changes that are
Yes.
included in this
Yes,
motion,
I'm
please?
sorry.
Who's gonna, Dave? Okay, go ahead.
Do you want me to
Or you, yeah.
run
you
through
can-
it quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're adding 9.4 RFP for IT discussion, moving minutes from the November 5th meeting to 9.5, and holding off on Administrator Peterson's review until the December 3rd council meeting. And there's a motion.
I would,
sorry, go ahead.
I would like to continue with Mrs. Peterson's review and add Counselor Hill's comments at a later date. I would like to just continue and, do.
Are you asking me to amend my motion?
I'm asking if that you could do that as a late submission and let the 4 of us continue the discussion to, get it moving. I think you need to add your opinion in, but it'd be nice to get it going so that we can move on with the rest of the reviews.
As long, Regina, I'm okay with that as long as my vote counts.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll go for that change then, Kent.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, Dave's going to amend his motion. Dan, would you like to second that? So everything remains the same with the minutes at 9.5, the RFP for IT at 9.4, but we will proceed with Administrator Peterson's review tonight. All right, I've got a motion from Dave, a second from Dan. As Dave is remote, we will proceed with a roll call vote. Kyle?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Dan?
Aye.
And Dave?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up, we're going to move on to item number 4 on our agenda, public forum. This is an opportunity for citizens to present items to the council that are not on the agenda. Each presentation is limited to 3 minutes and a maximum of 15 minutes is set aside. If your item needs follow-up from the city, staff will arrange time for that. If you'd like to step forward for public forum, please make your way to the podium, state your name and address, and council will hear your concerns. I will ask again if anybody would like to step forward for public forum. I will ask a third and final time if anybody would like to step forward for public forum. Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 5, request to appear on the agenda, discussion on trail project from Jim Sloan.
Good evening.
Hi.
For this opportunity to speak to you this evening. Do we have the maps?
You guys ready? First.
I'm sorry, I thought the maps were attached to the agenda.
We got paper copies.
Want the current trails first?
Yes, please.
Dave, did you receive paper copies too, Sue?
We did.
Okay,
Yes, yes, I did, Ken. I'm well aware of the trail.
Sorry, do you need my copy?
No, I haven't. That's fine.
Does
So first of all, I
anyone-
wanted to just review the trails that exist. The trails that are in red are meant to show the county trails. The Highway 61 trail, Cross Lake Road trail. The line in green on your map is the city trail that's behind the high school. It's back out and then down to the dairy. Just a couple comments there. The new trail on Highway 61, if you drive 61, it looks great from the road. It looks even better if you ride it in your bike or run it. It's a quality trail, really nice. In terms of the Cross Lake Road Trail, people are saying, where did all the people come from that are using it? It's continually used. There's always somebody on it. I spoke with the county commissioner who said during the construction, neighbors were complaining, why are you spending all this money on this trail? Now that it's done, they're saying, why didn't we do it sooner? Now it's the city's responsibility to step up and make a connection between these two trails. Now, on the second map that you have, we have several options that we're looking to get from. Connecting the two county trails, using the city trail behind the high school. So option A is the line in yellow. Originally, it was designed by the county a number of years ago. 2 years ago, SEH and Greg Anderson also engineered basically the same place. And so you see there where that's going to go. The difficulty there lies in acquiring property on the east side of the trailer court and transect across the Halverson property, the landlocked property between the trailer court and the softball fields.
So currently you're talking about joining this green line and then,
Basically, we're talking in this first option, the entire yellow line.
okay,
So it goes from that dead end on the high school trail, behind the high school, down to Robinson Park. And through Halberstadt, through the trailer court, Pine Technical, and then along Riverwood Street. Any other questions there?
and you said, the county engineer had this same,
Yeah.
Idea
I
too,
don't know how
and
many
Greg.
years ago that
Okay.
was, but, you know, they engineered it, it was ready to go. I believe it was part of the grant that built the trail behind the high school. They were in fiscal year problems, they had to get the money spent, so they took it out to 61. Is the reason it didn't go there originally.
Is the intent to try and run it down railroad right away or through properties when it gets closer around?
The part of Railroad Street is simply down Railroad Street. One of the members of our trail committee, Kathy Clune, is in charge of property acquisition or leasing sales for BNSF. And so we feel that when we make the proper request, that we'll be able to lease or do something if we have to cross railroad property. So we're not looking at acquiring or being on somebody's lawn on Railroad Street. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's as large as it gets? Okay. Yeah, that helps a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, so I think I'll just go on then. Option B would run on the west side of the trailer. Now, this is the favorite option by the trailer court management. That's where they would prefer to have it go. But it also needs to provide access to the landlocked property of the Halversteds, either on Maplewood Lane, or they would require some purchase of the Man Savage property on the south end. So there is a wide enough piece of property between the softball field to put in a road to provide for access. Both of those options are strongly opposed. The people on Maplewood Lane are all opposed to reopening that street that was vacant. The Man Savages also do not want to sell any of their property. So there's that real difficulty for that option. The last option is what I labeled as the south side of Pine Tech. It would go from the end of the current trail, which is by the Dairy Queen. It would simply go through go on through the property of that apartment that's back there, and then through the south side of Pine Tech, and then take the yellow line down to Robinson Park. So those are the options we're looking at. Now that option is the shortest connection, but as I said, has the potential problem of dealing with the access to the apartment building behind the dairy. Now, the best route is option A. It's the most direct. It's safer because it moves the traffic, the trail off of a busy road. It's recommended by Pine County engineer Mark LeBrun. It's the preferred route of Pine Tech. It's recommended by Greg Anderson and SEH, and it's the preferred route of our trail committee. Now, in the past, you've approved the comprehensive plan that includes the multi-section trail plan for the city. In addition, there was a separate approval of that plan by the council. And these are simply attempts to begin extending trails, extending sidewalks in the city to make it better for pedestrians, bicycles, alternative transportation. Now, if you hear nothing else tonight, hear what I say next. Marcy and I met with Mark Brunn lately. Mark said, if the city acquires the right of way, the county will build the trail. So looking at option A, if the city could provide purchase or lease of the land through the Halverstead property and the trailer court, and cover any court costs that are incurred, the county is going to get it built. The next step would be to authorize Marcy or the city attorney to investigate what those costs would be so we can make a fully informed decision. And there's funding sources out there that could help us make the right decision. Now, I digress a little bit. In late September, I attended the Gala for the Homeless Shelter. I take it on myself to push bids, push auction bids. I've taken home items I didn't want or I didn't need. This year, I took home the entry to Grandma's Marathon. I'm beyond the age of running. Since the half marathon to Grandma's Marathon sold out in 70 minutes, I could sell that entry and make some money. But no, I started running. I will participate in one of the races of Grandma's Marathon next June. The opportunity and the incentive is there. Build it, they will come. Provide the opportunity. Provide the incentive. People will come. People will use it. It will yield benefits. Physical, mental, and financial. Thank you. Are there any more questions?
I just have one quick
Yeah.
question. I seem to remember once, maybe about a year or two ago, that you had actually gotten into negotiating about the right of ways and purchasing property. Is that correct? Like
That's
there was some
correct.
stuff behind the trailers we had.
Yes, yep.
Do you recall what that was looking like dollar wise at that point? 700,000 sticks out in my head for some
Okay,
reason.
so, there were some, I think, discussion that went on behind my back that were trying to sabotage what was to be done. And that $700,000 number, you're correct about that, was an exaggerated price because they wanted to try to do something different. And I think that's what pushed us to option B there, where management of the trailer court prefers that west side. I'm not a realtor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professional at that process. And that's why I said Marcy or the city attorney should be someone that knows the prices, knows the process, and can make a reasonable request that I'm not able to do. So yes.
Thank you.
You talked a little bit about safety, but would this, I see the benefit for the college, but would this also connect so that the children that live up in, Cross Lake Preserve, it would also provide them a way to the high school, it looks like,
On the map, you can see that yellow stub there.
yes?
That would be a connection of the trail on Cross Lake Road and
Okay.
Cross Lake Preserve, yes.
Yeah, so,
And this is not, what I've done there is not exactly what you've tabled for the railroad crossing on 8th Avenue. But it would allow some access there, at least for
Mhm.
now, yes.
okay. That the technical school and the high school could both benefit
Yes,
from this
very much
connection.
so. And,
Okay.
and speaking with Joe Halford, Mulford today, he's very concerned about that and wants to move forward. You know, I think we need to continue to work to make that happen as well.
Crossing we put in the spring, so that'll be nice.
It will be there. Okay.
The engineer, the county's on board, just decided not to do it this fall because your
Okay.
time for the concrete and
Okay.
the salt was better to wait for spring. But yeah, we'll be putting in a crosswalk with the blinker flasher right on the west side of the railroad tracks, right out railroad. And then it'll connect back up and be the hook into to Second Street.
And I think if you're willing to move forward with this, I mean, they will tie together very well. So yes.
So your ask was to, investigate the cost.
Yes. Allow Marcy or the city attorney to negotiate, to, you know, begin to move forward to make something happen.
Any other questions or comments from council? Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Marcia, do you want to dive into this a little bit more and bring it back as a agenda item in the future? Perfect. Thank you. All right, next up, we're moving on to item number 6.1 on our agenda. This is a public hearing for second and third apartments LLC tax abatement.
Good evening. I'm Leslie Sauter, your economic development coordinator. I'll just give you guys an overview of the project for the public comments. That way everybody kind of understands. You may remember that at your September council meeting, you guys considered a request for tax abatement in the amount of $82,700 for the second and third apartments located at 665 11th Street Southwest. It is a property being developed into 2 fourplex apartments for 8 total houses. The project estimates are around 1.2 million, and the current market value of the property is just under $30,000 with an estimated value after completion of around $800,000. The property taxes for the first year are estimated to be about $12,800, and the developer is requesting a total abatement $146,300 over 15 years from both the city and the county, with the county contributing $63,600 and the city contributing that earlier amount I stated of $82,700. It fits into the state statutes, and your preliminary term sheet was accepted by you guys at your September meeting, which then moved us into more of a legal process of having a public hearing and drafting up the actual tax abatement agreement and incurring some significant costs working with Ellers and Taft Law Firm to get to this point. Yesterday at the county board meeting, they held a public hearing as well and considered the request and approved it unanimously, contingent on your approval. So you can only get it with yours as well. The documents that are in the attachment for the agenda were drafted by Taft Law Firm. And just as a reminder, you've done a few of these projects for housing over the last few years, and I've listed those in my staff memo to you guys. But that is kind of the request in front of you to consider. And
Thank you, Leslie.
that
All right, this is a public hearing, so at this point in time, we will go ahead and open up the public hearing for tax abatement on the second and third apartments. If you would like to speak during the public hearing, please make your way up to the podium, and council will hear your comments. I will ask again, if this is a public hearing, if anybody would like to speak on this issue, please make your way up to the podium. And I will ask for a third and final time. This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to make public comment on the tax abatement for second and third apartments, please make your way to the podium. Hearing none at this point in time, we will close the public hearing and council will take under advisement. Is this somewhere else on the agenda later on? 10.1. Oh, perfect. All right. Next, then we will move on to item number 7, committee updates. We just have one committee update for this meeting, and that was HRA. We met on Tuesday and discussed budgetary items. Though I think the biggest thing on that meeting was a policy for policy and process for concerns and resolutions and how that should be handled. HRA is breaking that down into a work group and coming back with some better ideas, more refined ideas than what was originally presented to us, and bringing that back for the next meeting. Hopefully the next meeting, if not the meeting after that. That's really all I can think of. Marcy, you were there too. Am I missing anything major? Yeah, I don't think it was a pretty quick meeting. All right. Next we will move on to item number 8. No, I'm sorry, consent items. Would someone like to make a motion to?
I believe Mr. Hill had some comments on 8.1.
Yeah, we moved that to 9.5. So we'll take
We moved that, yeah.
I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Jason Skubacek for his years of service with the fire department, and good luck when you retire.
Thank you, Dan.
And
Would someone like to make? Oops, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I'd like to make a comment too. You know, being a retired fireman myself, I know the sacrifices he made. I know what my family sacrificed. I know what, you know, what all the training and the hours and stuff that were spent. And I have to say that you make it to that point, you've earned it. And I wish him the best and look forward to seeing him at our relief meetings that we have, and look forward to that very much. So.
Thank you, Dave. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent items? This would be 8.2 through 8.6.
So moved.
Motion by Gina. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will proceed with the roll call vote. Dan, I'll start with you this time.
Aye.
Gina,
Yes.
Kyle,
Aye.
and Dave.
Yes.
I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up, we will move on to old business. First up is 9.1, 2024 street improvements, AFP number 7. Hi,
Good
Greg.
evening, Mayor, members of the council. I can see you. So, for you is pay application number 7 for the street project. It largely contains the paving from this summer and the stripe to the bike trail lane. It's not the final one. We did reduce retainage down to 1%. But we got a few things. I think we're missing the sign. Corey pointed out we got a little bit of cleanup to do, but this doesn't include any of the work done at the outfall. This is strictly quantities, payment, and payment fees for the trail, and just gets us back square with the contractor. So we reduced the retainage to 1%, and then in my memo later, you'll note that the RL did go out and oversee the entire project after the fact the assessment committee. We tried to put a list of yards together. He said it's easier for me to just bring them out. And that was charged to the city, part of the warranty. So, looking for approval of the
Right, council, questions, comments, concerns? Would someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve AFP number 7.
Right, I've got a motion from Dan. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Gina. Any further discussion?
I have one question. When we go out and we do some remediation, do we have any kind of sign forms or business resolutions that are addressed, or just?
We have a master punch list that we, people put together, and then we check off and whatever as far as between the city, us, and the contractor. Any private stuff we just won't deal with. Comes up and they call them.
Okay. It would be kind of nice to have some documentation that's all involved in the future, just sort of like coming back. Yeah. Sure.
Perfect, thank you, Kyle. Any further comments from council? Hearing none, I've got a motion to approve AFP number 7 from Dan and a second from Gina. We will proceed with a roll call vote. I can't remember where I started last time, so Kyle, you're lucky number 1. Gina,
Yes.
Dan,
Aye.
Dave,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up is 9.2 Fawn Meadows AFP number 1.
All right, this is pay application number 1 of the water main loop project. The pipe is all in. We're connected on both sides. It's tested. Everything's been seeded. Dormant seeded. I'm gonna get grass in the spring. I jumped the gun in my memo. It's not on yet. It'll get on by next week. The contractor's coming up and work with Public Works and flush it, get it turned on, it's connected, tested. Go. So that's off to the council for moving this project forward, and we can all have a sigh of relief. Fire chief, water main. You'll note the amount is $338,872, but we're including retainage right now because we wait for the grass to grow in the spring. We're going to be a little bit over the contract amount, and that's because of the different pipe installation methods. Part of the project was to drill the pipe, put it in trenchless without restoration. The other part was open cut on the west end. We development and on the east end by the cul-de-sac. As they were drilling the pipe in from the west to the east, they encountered some rocks and cobbles and weren't able to drill as far as they planned. But they had all the pipe up here as things together, so we ended up with a longer open cut section. That's why, and those were priced at a different unit price, so we paid it for the actual work they did. That's why it's a little bit off, but it's still reasonable. And like I said, it went in fine. We thought we'd have more issues digging. It just probably was a pile of rocks. They aren't the easiest to drill through. So it's all in, restored, and the contractor will work with Public Works to get it done by next.
Right, thanks, Greg. Any questions, comments, or concerns from council? All right, hearing none, would someone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Dave,
I'll second.
second from Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed with a roll call vote to approve AFP number 1. Dan?
Aye.
Gina?
Yes.
Kyle?
Aye.
And Dave?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up, 9.3, project update memo from Greg.
So they covered most of the big rocks. The middle overlay project is done. We do have one more payoff just to close it out. There is a bunch of restorations, like this mineral side, but that's been largely paid out. The water main loop we just covered. The sidewalk, Dan mentioned earlier, we have contracts, we're ready to go. The contractor agreed to wait till spring for, trying to coordinate with the railroad, weather issues and all that. So we'll get the railroad permit and everything in order. And when he comes up in the spring, they can get everything done at once. We had probably a late June completion date, so that'll be the early part of the summer that'll be in. 10th Street project we covered, and then just an update on Hillside and 13th. We're working with Pine County. Get started on the final design for a signal at that intersection. We did what they're called an intersection condition evaluation or ICE report, like my acronyms. That recommended either a roundabout or a signal. Signal's less expensive, probably going to fit better because of the super elevation of the road and get the roundabout in there. We're probably going to start on construction documents later with the county. They'll be, we'll probably have a meeting with the city, and I believe Mark's hoping to get that built next year. So we'll look at the city construction. We'll have a city cost share component. I don't know what that is right now. Working with you, so that's in progress.
And if needed, is there a temporary solution until it's actually built out before? Like, could you do temporary stuff or some?
We could, I think.
I mean, I don't know, but time will tell if it's needed, but I'm guessing it's going to be needed.
Yeah, let's monitor that. Maybe work with your sheriff's office in the county. Just we get a lot of stacking, we get going out in front of people, that type of thing. So
We talked with the county yesterday and they're open to getting something put out there.
Yeah.
Till spring. Mm-hmm.
they've used those temporary signals before, I think, on the bike trail over on Crossley.
Oh, okay.
It's just they're pretty easy little mobile units set up and usually work on campuses. Turn the light.
That's nice to know. Thank you.
Perfect. Any other follow-up from council?
Thanks, Greg.
Perfect, thanks,
Thank
Greg.
you.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, next up, 9.4, we'll do RFP for IT discussion.
At our last regularly scheduled council meeting, we had made a motion to table RFPs for IT's managing. And then when the agenda came out, it wasn't on there. And we were told that staff had narrowed it down to 4 to fit within budget. And I'm just wondering how we got from bringing it back to this meeting for us to discuss, the staff making the decision for it.
Well, we didn't. I went back and watched it and I listened to it and heard that it was coming back and it is going to come back. We were just trying to get the agenda to work well. And there's multiple that are completely out of our budget and not even an option. So that was the intent. It's not making a decision for council.
But the email said that it had been decided on because it was what fit within the budget of 30,000 for next year, and that's why the 4 were picked. That's where my confusion comes in. And
Well, no one's been told no, and it's coming back to the next agenda. So no decisions have been made and no direction's been taken.
I just read 14 RFPs for IT for 13. And that was a lot of work.
Oh, it's still coming back, yeah.
But it's been narrowed down to 4 that fit within the budget.
We haven't made any decisions, like we haven't,
But that's what I was told via email. Is that it had been narrowed down to 4 selections that'll fit into next year's budget. And that interviews were going to be set up with them, and then staff was going to bring it back to us.
well, it was also discussed at that meeting too, but we haven't had any interviews. We haven't really even scheduled anything yet. But it is coming back.
So it's going to come back with the 4 that fit within the budget that's posted.
We'll bring them all.
Okay. I'm super confused, but thank you.
Well, they'll all be present on the agenda. However, the majority of them do not fall within our budget. We can still look at it.
Right, but the part of the conversation we had was if we had to alter the budget to fit the service, not alter the service to fit the budget. And we're not gonna have that opportunity to have that conversation.
You'll have that
Because our
opportunity.
next meeting is truth and taxation.
We still have a meeting though scheduled. Truth and taxation is separate. There's still a meeting.
But when will we have time to make input to the budget, is what I'm saying. We don't have a time to meet as a council between now and December 3rd to have any input on the budget. But what is. And the explanation that I received, like I said, was there's 4 that have been selected that fit within that budget. So rather than being able to have an opportunity to see if the service fits and alternating budget could make it go up, we're stuck with the budget number and having to slot in something that's going to cost.
But we don't have the ability to make the budget go up for that.
No, but we could move things from, if we're cutting from other places, we could put into IT and still come out and wash. Again, I was confused as to how we got here.
Would it be something that we would like to schedule a special meeting to, I know next week is Thanksgiving, so that makes it, and Gina is going to be on vacation, so she wouldn't be able to attend. But we could discuss further next week if there's availability.
Say, Kent, I'd like to say something when you get time.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, and Dan, at first I took it that way too when I read it, but I take it more as a recommendation from not as we chose this and this is what you guys got to pick from. We always know that we can expand our horizons and we can pick more than what someone that maybe costs a little more or whatever. I don't think that's ever been closed off from us, and they can't do that, and we all know that. I just think I took it as a recommendation after I looked at it after a while. At first I had the same feelings as you, but I don't take it that way anymore. So.
Well, but the email says we're in the process of scheduling meetings with the 4 candidates who fall within our 2026 budget. Our goal is to complete these meetings within the next couple of weeks. Once they're concluded, we plan to bring the matter back to council for review before the end of the year.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they aren't going to bring more people. They bring the rest of them back. You're reading into it too much. I feel that's fine. You have your opinion, and I have mine. I think it is. I think it is.
We can't monkey with the budget. It's going to be 30,000. If we were going to have an option to make an adjustment to the budget, that time is now. We don't have that time anymore.
Well,
It does feel like the choices have already been made for us if you're only interviewing the 4 individuals and not all 14 individuals. It would have been nice to have more time to be able to look through the budget because I don't think that we're going to be able to schedule a special meeting next week, and it's going to get really tight the week after. So, I mean, we could turn it into a 6-hour meeting on truth and taxation and try and come up with funding, but I don't think our attention span's going to be there.
well. You know, you guys, I think we've had a plethora of stuff on our plate in the last since the new council got in. I think we've shown that we can adjust, we can adapt, we can overcome, just like the military. And I don't see any reason why we can't make this work. And if we really want to, I don't think they put any barriers in front of us. I think we all have the ability to read and understand and make suggestions. So I think we can move on with this without too much trouble.
All right, any further comments, concerns from council?
I guess if we're gonna adapt and move on, I'd like to look at interviewing all 14, not just 4.
I'm open to that. Fine. Set up the date. I'll be there.
Do we, it's gonna be tight in December, the rest of the year here, but let's work on some dates and get some interviews scheduled, and we can cop them up when folks have time and we'll make it work. Thank you.
Good majority of them are out of state. I think one is even out of country.
I think they're all within the country.
Okay. So they would be most likely, the majority of them are Teams meetings.
Excuse me. All right, any further comments on that? All right, next up, 9.5. This would be minutes from the November 5th meeting. Dave, I think you had some comments there.
Yeah, that's me. You know, you guys, I've had a few things going on in my life, and my perspective on a lot of things has changed. But one thing that hasn't changed is my attitude and how I present myself at the council meetings. I was a little bit shocked at some of the behavior at the last one. I'm not gonna cite any people or any persons at this time, but I just wanted to make the comment that when I watched that, I really was not very happy, and I wished it wouldn't have happened. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think you all know what I'm talking about. So I'm willing to move on. I hope everybody else is willing to move on too.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Where's my?
Would someone like to then make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 5th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Would you like to make a
I'll second it.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Yeah,
Sorry, Gina,
Gina,
I heard Gina first. So
I'm on a little delay here. That's why it's a little, but it's working.
All right, we've got a motion to accept the minutes from Gina and a second from Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed with a roll call vote. Kyle?
Aye.
Gina?
Yes.
Dan?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up, we are going to move on to new business. Item number 10.1, request for council action, second and third apartments tax abatement. Members of council, questions, comments, concerns?
I haven't walked past the area in a while, but there was talk about a privacy fence. Has that been constructed or?
It has not been one constructed. In fact, I've reached out to the neighbor a couple of different times on unrelated items and got no response.
Is that the neighbor that's up for sale right now?
Yeah, the neighbor was not.
He claims the same, that he's tried to contact you several times and that you have not been responsive.
That's
And I know that there was reach out to the city about privacy fence, and your answer
This
was
was a discussion about it, yes.
the developer explained that he initially mentioned the possibility of a fence as a gesture to help ease concerns, but since it is not a requirement, he has decided not to move forward with it. He expressed his apologies and noted that he may think about it in the future, but for now, the answer is no. So he told the public people that were here, the neighbors, what they wanted to hear.
I told them I would talk to them about the idea about it.
No, you said you were gonna install a privacy fence.
Told the neighbor that we could have a discussion about it and I'm willing to work with them on it. That's as far as it went. And he started attacking.
I was at both of those meetings and you committed to building a privacy fence as a concern from the neighbors. I went back and reviewed the minutes you did. And then when you were questioned on it by the city planner, the answer you gave was, it's not a requirement. I was doing it so that that concerns could be eased and I could get my project going.
That's not true. I didn't say something.
No.
I said I would have the discussion with him. If he wanted to move forward with something, I'd certainly talk to him about it. And
Your
for
exact
him
words were,
not reaching out to me
Him reaching out to me is.
I got a comment on that when I can break in.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Well,
Dave.
I was there too, Dan, and I was the one that brought up and I'd like to see the video on that. Do we have a video on that, Marcy?
Yes, it was recorded.
Okay, then I'd like to review that when I get time. I didn't look back that far. I didn't know it was going to go to this discussion. But I was sitting there and I looked at the neighbor in question and I said to Mr. Hoag at the time, if you were asked to put a fence up, would you do that? And I remember him saying that yes, he would if they wanted it. But there was no decision that I can remember was made at that time. But I'm willing to say I'm wrong if I watch the video and I say I'm wrong. But that's what I remember from it, that he did offer it and it wasn't accepted at that time.
Is it required?
It was
No.
not technically a requirement because it didn't make it into the motion that we made, that a privacy fence be constructed.
Then I guess we need to leave it between neighbors if it's not required.
Well, but as your statement in that meeting, doing favors for people so that we can get favors for housing. So then why are we not expecting the developer to commit to the favor that he said he was going to do? And I've been in contact with the neighbors.
I didn't hear him say he wasn't going to do it. I thought I heard him say that he would talk with the neighbor and work it out.
But he's not.
I've reached out to the neighbor.
And he has reached out to
On
you.
3 different occasions.
And so has the other one. And keep trying,
Well,
honor
yeah,
your word.
and I will.
But you said you weren't going to. That's why
He's unresponsive. What am I supposed to do?
you said that you were done. You might consider it later, not that you were going to continue to reach out to him to see if he still wants the fence built. That's not what
I
you
could
said.
reach out to my other items.
I'm talking about the fence. Oh, privacy.
Okay, how do we're not being productive here with our arguing with each other, so how do we move forward?
I guess, again, my concern is that who's gonna wanna live in this town as a single residential family? Because it seems like they always get the short end of the stick. I think the majority of the council have already made their decision on what the result is gonna be, but I'm still opposed to the tax abatement. I think that the time span is too long. It should be shortened down to 5 years if we're gonna give it out. I understand that we give this out to a lot of different projects. I think we're gonna end up putting a pretty hefty tax burden on the taxpayers that do have to pay for it at some point. And it does kind of bother me that there was a lot of comments made about things to make it a more relaxed feeling or a better relationship between the two neighbors, and sounds like that's not gonna happen, so I guess we are where we're at. Might as well just call for a vote instead of sitting here complaining about it.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion, one way or the other for resolution 2025-45?
I'll make that motion.
Dave, your motion is to approve resolution 2025-45?
It sure is.
All right, I've got a motion from Dave.
I'll
and
second
a
Dave's motion.
Second from Gina. Any further discussion from council at this point? Hearing none, this is a resolution, so we'll proceed with a roll call vote. Kyle?
No.
Gina?
Yes.
Dan?
Nay.
Dave?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. Next up, we will move on to item number 10.2, resolution 2025-47, accepting a donation from the Midco Foundation.
This resolution is for council to accept the donation from Midco for the fire department in the amount of $1,000.
So moved.
All right, I've got a motion from, was that Dave? That was you?
Yes.
That was me.
Motion from Dave to accept resolution 2025-47. Do I hear a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Second from Gina.
I'll sleep.
This is a resolution, so I'll proceed with the roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Gina?
Yes.
Kyle?
Abstain.
And Dave? Excuse me. I'm having
Yes. Yes.
All right, that I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up, item number 11, budget discussion.
Well, actually,
Oh,
there's,
wait, oh, sorry, there's
there is
another
a
one.
10.3 resolution.
Abstain from Midco.
Yeah, just go through the fire department.
So there was a donation made from the Pine City Smoke Eaters to the fire department for, let me click on it, for rope equipment. And this resolution 2025-48, the amount of $813.57 is for council to approve this donation to the fire department.
So moved.
All right, I've got a motion from Gina. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second from Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I've got a motion from Gina to approve resolution number 2025-48, accepting a donation from the Pine City Smoke Eaters to the Pine City Fire Department. Second from Dan, and we'll proceed with the roll call vote. Kyle?
Abstain.
Gina?
Yes.
Dan?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, now we'll move on to item number 11. We're going to move into budget discussion. 11.1, proposed 2026, excuse me, fee schedule.
This is a fee schedule that has gone through each department head and it's proposed. It's just for discussion and review and bringing it to council for them to look at.
I have two questions.
I've got some comments whenever.
Did the ordinance committee review this and I guess also present their findings too?
Well, last year it went to ordinance and it never really has in the past. So why it did, we're not sure. What the city has done in the past is it goes through department heads and then it goes straight to council because it's the department heads that know their budgets. So why it went to ordinance last year, I'm not sure.
And my second question is just to get a little more clarity on the sewer rate per gallon. Looks like city residents are about $8 more expensive than everybody else around.
Yeah, this is proposed, but also what's just coming in, actually the meetings tomorrow is the water study. So, and that's going to impact this as well.
Right.
But what happened with the fee schedule going to ordinance with the last fee schedule, the rates were not increased. So Ellers has set a fee schedule with the waters and sewer, and ordinance took that off.
No, we left it flat.
Yeah,
We were waiting for the water.
flat line. So there was no water or sewer increase that Ellers had proposed in like the 10-year study or something. So this would be making up for the years that were skipped. But again, we have the water study coming in, which is gonna actually readjust those.
Guess it'd be nice to have the sewer rate reviewed, and more so than just the study, I am concerned about the $8 difference. So, especially since we're providing the service.
Well, I think we know it's gonna be adjusted. It has to be once the study comes out. I think all this is gonna be corrected.
It looks like it's being proposed that it goes up 50 cents, so
Yeah,
for city
right.
residents. Staying the same for everybody outside of
Well, the study will show that they need a raise too, I guess, so. I've got some comments on the building part of the fee schedule and a couple other things whenever I can break in.
I'll just ask Maury quickly, was there any rationale on why the cemetery cost went up?
So 4 years ago, we had that discussion at council and it was broke incremental for 5 years. And it got axed again last year. So we're just making that adjustment.
Gina, we had a previous administrator that did not work well on the fee schedule, and I had some serious arguments about it. And it never got adopted, which was wrong. And when they did adopt it, he took the estimates from somewhere else. I'm not going to say where, and they were talking like $1,000 to $1,500 for a grave. It was ridiculous. So that's why it never ever passed. And and we come back and it just never got taken care of. And like Maury said, it's just been kicked down the road, and I'm tired of seeing the can going on, getting kicked down on that. And it's about time that we get some of these fees in there, because that's our income. That's part of our income, and we need it.
And we currently hire that out, right? Or do you
Right.
do it?
Some of it.
All grade, we do.
Okay,
do it with us.
all right, thank you. All right, okay, Dave, it's all yours.
Well, on the building end, and I argued this a few years ago, and Scott was, well, I'll say our previous administrator was supposed to get this taken care of, and of course he never did what he said he was going to do. But in the sections 8 and 9 concerning heating devices like water heaters and furnaces and air conditioners and stuff, and I just paid for a water heater and I just paid for an air conditioner, and we look at the fees that we're charging, or what's proposed in this is $125 a shot. I at that time I looked at the local area, and I know we don't have to be the cheapest and we don't have to be the most expensive, but right now we're the most expensive. We're right in there with the Metro, and that was designed by some advice from our building officials, I believe. And right now Cambridge is $64 on a water heater, and we're $125. I'm not comparing us to Cambridge, but that's and more of them are in the $70 range. We're just way too high. And the work that they have to do when I put in a new air conditioner and a new water heater this last year, I mean, it's like bing, bing, and he's out the door. You can do it with a picture. You don't even have to look at it. I think we're just a little bit crazy on some of that stuff, and we need to come down, because what it does is it encourages noncompliance. I've had conversations with many, before I even was on the council, with many contractors that said, you know what, it doesn't even pay to try to buy one, because some of them said we're the only ones that ever do it, and we get outbid because we have to put in the $100 and some for the water heater, and I don't think that's fair. They come in from out of town, they just stick them in. We don't even know they're here, because they do it on weekends and at nights. And if you guys haven't seen it, I've seen plenty of it. And I used to see a lot more of it than I wanted to. And I know they weren't charging. So we need to get a little more real on that. I'm willing to sit down and go through the ones, not all of that section, but a lot of that section that has to do with some of these simple things that can be done. And I talked to Cambridge, I've talked to other towns, and I talked to the inspectors, and I said, is this a lot of work? Are you coming okay with this as far as the dollars that you're taking in? And they said, we sure are. We're okay with that. So if they can make it on that, I think our building official can make it on that, or maybe we just need to make some changes there too. Who knows? The other section that bothered me a little bit is when you get into the animal section. I don't know, for some reason, dog licenses got tossed out the door. I don't know. How do we stop? Because if you look in that section in animals, how do we stop people from starting up their own puppy mills? Now, it does list commercial animal outfits and stuff that are in, it controls those. But I've been in this long enough and I took care of the complaints for 30 some years. So I know what it's like dealing with these people that like to have a half a dozen dogs and don't really think they have to have a kennel license, and we'd force them to get a kennel license. Well, that's not in there anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that, because otherwise it's kind of like feral cats. It gets out of control, and nobody wants to control cats. We know that. There isn't a city around that even thinks about it. But dogs, they do. And most of them go with a $10 lifetime license. We know that the dog's going to get his shots. I don't want to start a village where we have dogs biting people and we don't know if they've been vaccinated or anything like that. I think we're a better town than that. I don't believe in too much government oversight or over government oversight, but this is not oversight. This is a matter of public safety, and I think we need to put that back in there. My last thing that I was going to talk about on the fee schedule was the swimming lessons. I know we talked about raising the rate. I'm sorry, guys. We need to look at this is another safety thing. Kids need to learn how to swim, and I'm afraid we have families with tight budgets right now that, it seems like an awful lot of, not a lot of money, $35, $45. But in the scope of things, if you've got 3 or 4 children and you have a single mom or a mom at home, either single or a couple, and one works in the family and the other ones don't. This is a big budget item. We need to either have a family rate, or we need to work, and I'm not trying to throw some work at Brock's way. So if he's sitting there, I can't see you, Brock, so don't throw stones at me. But we maybe go out to some of the organizations. They're always looking for, sometimes they're looking for something. Maybe we can do some scholarship things. I think that would be a very good idea. And people, how they would set that up, I don't know. That that's above my pay grade. So that would be a good idea, I think, to try to maybe make that more affordable. You know, granted, some people it's not a problem, but some people it might be a problem. So them are the items that I have a opinion on, that, and then maybe there's a couple others, but that's the main ones.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave. Kyle, I think you've got another.
Yeah, I would like to say, Dave, that I also agree with you on the swimming lessons. I don't view that as something that we have to make money on. I believe it's a crucial service that we need to provide. So, my other concern was just under general license and permits. There's some language that says, it's right on page 8. There's some language that says it can be waived by the administrator for a nonprofit event. And it'd be nice to see that language go away and just have it be that it's waived for tax exempt nonprofits, and then everything else it's not waived for, because I think it opens us up for some opportunities for the government oversight to play favorites. So I'd like to see
I like that, Kyle. I like that idea. I would support that. So I don't know how we put this together. Do we sit down? I'm willing to sit down on a committee, help iron this out. I've looked at this thing so many times in the last few years. I'm really tired. I'm really tired of it. But I think we need to get this, and we need to pass this in December, so then January we are on square one instead of minus square one like we've been in the last few years. So
I'm hesitant about sending it out to a committee just because we haven't talked about it so much. I almost want to have a special meeting just for this item and go line by line with the council to agree upon everything.
That's how it ended up in ordinance the last time.
Or-
Council sent it to ordinance.
However, when it went to ordinance, so much was removed. So I think we need to keep the department heads as the overseers of suggestions, then it go to council.
Or could we
Right.
email our suggestions just regarding this, and then have that as a conversation?
well, that's fine, Gina. But then when we get to a vote, what are we doing? We voting on emails? I mean,
Then we talk
I'd rather
about it.
I'd rather put the figures in there. I think the evidence is pretty clear. We're right in line with some. I like what Maury said. You know, I mean, we should have raised that. I went to Maury at one point when I first got on the council, and I said, what do you need to, are we making any money? Are we covering our costs? I guess is what I think I said. You know what? You die a couple times and things kind of get screwed up. But anyway, I'm back and I'm studying this, and I think it makes sense to bring the department heads in at some point when, if we do have a question on it, or you know, we can call them or email them saying, why do you think we need this much for this or that? You know, we had, for a while there, we weren't even charging for street openings. That was ridiculous. And look at all the street openings we've had in the last, with all the construction going on. So we need to get this done. No matter how we do it, we got to get it done, and we need it done by the first of the year, because this is income, guys, and this is what pays our bills. And we're losing it because we're not getting it done. So, and it's just because it got kicked down the road too much, and we've kicked a lot of cans back into the trash can. So we're doing real good, but this is one that we got to just get done.
So at this point, the way the fee schedule sits, it has department head.
Yes,
So we don't need department head.
unless you had questions.
So if we had a meeting, I have tons of questions. Like, why is the al fresco license going from 40 to 125? Why is the sewer access and the water access charge being raised by $1,000 a piece? Like, I understand there's some inflation things, but I have lots of questions.
We haven't had a raise in 2 years, Dan. Maybe that's it.
But from 1,500 to 2,500.
Well, I'm not saying that's the right amount. That's why we're talking about this. And that's why, you know, if that's a question you have, I think the water rate study is the most important thing. And it sounds like that's coming back to us fairly soon. I think a special meeting, Kyle, was that you that brought that up? I think that's important. I think we need to spend the time on a special meeting just to go through this stuff. It's income.
I also like the idea of a special meeting. I don't know that I'm prepared tonight to necessarily schedule out a special meeting sometime between now and the end of the year, but worst case scenario, if there's a time that works for others blatantly, then let me know and I'll make it work.
Does this have to be set in place before truth and taxation, or if we decide to cut it down a little bit, do we have that flexibility in 2026?
I think because it's revenue,
Yes,
it's, yeah,
revenue
It's
coming in.
revenue. I don't know why we would.
Double check it.
sure.
Perfect. Any other discussion on the fee schedule? Hearing none, let's move on to 11.2, 2026 budget update.
I really don't have that much to say other than after tonight, we're gonna be able to plug in exact numbers and you're gonna probably see the percentage you're gonna wanna see. So we should have that done by the end of the week. So that'll be a solid update.
When we see that percentage, are we gonna see the full budget, or are we just gonna see the cover sheet?
What would you like?
I would like the full budget.
I would like that too.
Okay,
Perfect. Any
Are you
other
going to send
comments?
that electronically, or are you going to put that in paper form?
what would you like?
Well, I'd like paper. You know me. I like to scratch. I'll take it electronically too, but it's really hard for my eyes sometimes to study all them little numbers after a while. It's easier to do it on
Sure.
paper.
Okay,
I'm fine with electronic copy for review, but probably need a paper copy for the high letter stuff on the day of the truth and taxation.
Perfect. All right. Next, we're going to move into closed session.
5-minute break.
Yeah, we can take a 5-minute break while everybody gets comfortable.
Thank you. I was going to ask for one. Thank you.